Okay, I'm just going to start it back up again. Where's the mouse gone to? I'll have to wait till that finishes counting down.
General tweaks and fixes. Fixed several region permits not working, allowing players to enter restricted regions of space. This could result in some players finding themselves trapped in restricted space, unable to jump out, which will have to be handled on a case-by-case basis. Relocate commanders affected by galactic region permits. UI. Prevented commander name from offsetting when in Russian. Scaled the cargo canister rack schematic to the correct size. Adjusted the footer positions in the cockpit panels. They were off by a few pixels. Added simple OS message box report for when a save operation fails. Synthesis quality options do not cycle around fixed. Added an unpowered state for weapons in cockpit UI. Adjusted text field widths ever so slightly in cargo menu. Misleading wanted status and bounty message on vacant player ships. Nominate screen sticks on screen if exited by pressing B. Selling cartographic data does not allow you to select close on the menu when you have a first discovery bonus fixed. Fix some wrongly sorted UI render layers. System addresses hovered by pad. Keyboard and mouse are now linked so that mouse movement won't hide the info pop-up after having used pad. Keyboard to select a system. Discrepancy between material name shown on contact list and when targeting, recovering the mineral fixed. System map, making sure the system map address is reset when pressing back button to avoid displaying the map for another system when using the shortcut or the cockpit button. In the insurance screen, only show the free ship option as an alternative to rejoining current ship when the player has fines to pay in their current ship's jurisdiction.
It's back up and running
store
again.
Shouldn't show drones as purchasable if there is no stock. Fix for missing currency formatting on data link voucher rewards. Fix calculating the distance to a sensor contact.
King Admiral Commander
When we are at max
Dragon
rank,
Double
the stats should consider
and
progress
still
to be
got
0%.
This was still got about 60 minutes to
cost
go.
in the insurance screen to make it less misleading. The actual total cost would include paying off fines. New layout for options screen. Tone down the intensity of the white target GUI elements so that they do not overbloom. Add distances to wakes targeted by the player. Fixed back input not working on the cockpit chat panel. Fixed the ship schematic in the functions tab from drifting. Launch training messages saying not bound instead of the bound key. Increased the minimum size for moons on the scanner in order to not collapse tiny moons into just 1 pixel. Display the data micro-resource inventory in the inventory panel. Change the default number of items per page in exploration selling from 20 to 50 following from server-side optimizations that make this plausible. Systems that require a permit no longer highlighted in red on the navigation panel. Sync the wait time displayed on the quit game dialog with the underlying danger timer. Fix some commander stats not updating correctly for certain mission types or when destroying skimmers. Fix displaying first discovery names too many times when commanders in a wing claimed first discovery. Crimes. Fixed assault bounties not being applied when report crimes against me is often turned on mid-fight. Issue was that pirate hunter hostile could spawn in a polity different from where the player drops out. If that polity is lawless, no bounty would be given to the pirate. Now fixed. Galaxy map. Galaxy map now remembers the previous cargo mass slider setting, unless enough real cargo is added to the ship to exceed the slider setting. Fixed system map not remembering which tab you were on. Planetary map, fixing coordinates used for surface settlements positioning and player ship position. Galaxy map. It is not that obvious what is selected when using the controller on the galaxy map. Fixed. Galaxy map, pledge icon now lines up following the power's name. Fixed. System map locale scroll moves very slowly with mouse wheel. Fixed. Fixed performance spike in galaxy and system map pop-ups. Potential fix for the ring appearing sometimes in the system map. Fixed the visibility routine for bodies in system map doesn't allow unexplored bodies to be shown when going back from planetary map. Safety fixes for input bindings. Config options returns the default option if it's asked for the current options when it is an invalid index. System map is now properly initialized when a route is plotted in the targeted system. Don't replot the current route just because the galaxy map is opened. Fixes the route being forgotten sometimes if viewing the galaxy map during FSD charge, and helps to avoid forgetting the in-system target at the end of the route. The default light for black hole systems in the system map was not giving the desired result. A cold, dim bluish light is now substituted as the default. Improved system map load time. Fixed the issue with the latitude being calculated negative. That is, the North Pole was at latitude -90 when it should have been at +90. Galaxy map, showing controlling faction state in the galaxy map pop-up, making sure none is displayed when primary minor faction is no particular state. When searching for a system name, trim white space off the end of the search, as some people use methods which automatically place white space on the end, which is preventing the search from working. Added clear route button for any waypoint of an active route. Fixed route plotting issues when a system is actually unreachable. The route plot will fail, but the button will become available again, displaying a subtitle, "Route plotting failed." Galaxy map population sliders don't update their position dynamically when using a control pad. Ships. Players are no longer awarded bounty vouchers for destroying their own ship while in a vehicle. Remove a now obsolete angular velocity clamp that only applies in FA. The classified camera no longer resets the player's throttle. Shield cell banks now fire one at a time when triggered using the shield cell bank hotkey, similar to heat sinks. The automated field maintenance unit can no longer be repaired unless there are more than one active repair units. Fixed error from firing heat sinks in Super Cruise. Scanner zoom level is now preserved when entering and leaving FSD. Silent running is now disabled when the docking computer is activated.
Oh, have fun.
Player's ship shields should recharge while player is in SRV. Disabled the speeding UI warning while docked. Fixed the photo camera not turning when cockpit headlock is toggled on. Fixed for the landing silhouette on the terrain schematics flipping to an X-axis rotation when there's no altitude raycast result available. Made the compass on the GUI align correctly with the nav marker at nav beacons and other locations. Player ship no longer inappropriately accelerates automatically to max speed under certain conditions. Hard points can no longer be deployed while in Super Cruise. This doesn't affect the usage of scanners and interdictors, etc. The photo camera is now disabled if the player's ship is being interdicted. Photo camera pop-up can now be closed using the key bound to UI select. Proximity alarm is no longer triggered by projectiles launched by their owning ship. Ships can land on top of each other when recalled in close proximity on a planet. Fixed. Fix problem with evaluating landing area where ships would time out trying to land because their landing gear took more than 10 seconds to deploy. Holding the vertical thrust input while launching from a landing pad will now work properly. You no longer have to release the input and reapply it. Fixed incorrect Super Cruise flight model parameters for Federal gunship. Zero thrust on start of evaluating landing area as a previous flight or target might result in a spinning ship during this stage of approach. Make sure that ships called into land can take off if they landed. Fixed thrust to VFX playing while ships are landed. It is no longer possible for a docked ship to commit a ramming crime. Rebalanced heat efficiency of the third allows to offset the increased power plant change. Landing gear doors are now initialized open if you load into the game docked. Cutter occasionally bounces off the surface when recalled fixed. Update the logic for collision damage between ships and canisters so that larger ships don't insta-kill canisters on contact. Review damage forwarded to the cockpit from hull, previously going in frequent large lumps, and too fast overall. Now occurs is more frequent but much smaller amounts. Ships can no longer enter super cruise if their thrusters are disabled. Remove a stray transform set, meaning if you hit a planet at much more than 0.1 C you had a tendency to drop out in it. Tweak the limits on headlook angles to make what you can see appear more natural. You can no longer see where your neck ought to be, for instance. Ensure cargo is transferred when rebuying a ship from an orphaned SRV. Be a little bit more forgiving for surface landings that don't meet a decent standard. Fix minimum refuel calculation when using multiple fuel tanks. NPCs. Fix bad bay numbers and parking permission granted messages. Attacking something that you own is legal and won't make it hate you. Added shield cell banks onto the targetable modules list. Should now appear on the sub-targets list if a ship has them installed and be targetable. Authority issue between two players at poise fixed. Stop NPC ships from dropping out immediately upon spawning in Super Cruise. Fix some NPC docking queue issues. Stop docked player ships that are near the docking shared path from blocking AI docking, launching. Scanning NPCs shouldn't boost if they don't have time to slow down. Fixed parked AI ships deploying their hardpoints while docked. Police will destroy any loose illegal cargo after an interdiction, to stop the player from ejecting it and then recollecting after interdiction. Fix a few issues to do with chasers respawning when they shouldn't. When respawning persistent AI hunters, check to see if we're in an unpopulated system beyond a set distance, 500 li, from the nearest capital, and if we are, only spawn the chasers 50% of the time. This will get rerun each time we change between normal space and super cruise, so the odds of the hunters persisting will diminish. Updating certain player events so they don't appear in anarchy systems, anything with authority, military or search and rescue ships in. Fix NPC ships failing to launch from settlements. Smooth out AI difficulty curve. Improve AI for higher ranked NPCs. Improve reliability for docking computer with the cutter. Don't allow vacant ships to commit crimes. Make lower level NPCs a bit easier to chase. Try to prevent NPCs stopping in space for no reason. Improve docking computer behavior near planet surfaces. Optimize obstruction avoidance. NPC spawned with no shields and broken AI fixed. Slow down to engage docking computer message remains after cancelling docking request fixed.
Just use
NPC
XSplit.
AI continues to fire hatch breaker even when player has no cargo and hatch is powered down fixed. Improved use of missiles and torpedoes by NPCs. Stop NPCs rolling on the spot. Improve AI targeting of cargo canisters. Docking computer forces you to collide with station on entry fixed. Don't try and spawn ships with military planet dock. Military ships don't dock. Also turn on power play ships at stations. Power play ships can now be encountered in normal space. Make sure that the police patrolling the station will be of the same faction as the station. Fix ship versus environment collisions so that AI-controlled ships take damage again. AI shouldn't be trying to manually fire weapons that are on auto-fire. It causes them to fire in really odd directions. Fix issues with inconsistent spawning. In particular, the issue with not all the cargo drops always spawning. Only spawn pirates, and power assassins at anarchy stations. Use local polity, not star polity, when determining ship composition at ports. Added in more power-specific chatter for power pirates. These guys are essentially privateers, paid to rob people, so placed the emphasis more on it being a job. Increased variety for NPC paths approaching surface ports and outposts. Dropping them in cargo and bounty values for a hunter to appear in. Bumped up the percentage chance of the chasers appearing based on security. Added the Viper M cave to the police archetype. Increase variety for ship departure behavior on surface ports. Remove scan behaviors from pirates and bounty hunters when around ports/outposts/settlements, that is when docking, doing a lift-off, or traveling across the surface before jumping. Killing an NPC's power plant does not cause them to fall to the surface. Minimum threat value for ambient supercruise police ships based on system security level. Fix trespass zone orientation causing incorrect rendering on the scanner. Fix duplicate spawning of chasing ships after interdiction. Make state-based trader NPCs have the same faction on multiple visits. Slightly altered the police Viper score values so that Vipers appear when an investigation is called, rather than an eagle. Stop AI, often police, from scanning ships, particularly players, when docked at a station, outpost. Fixes to AI scanning players with silent running enabled. Change hive mind reinforcement timer to be banded based on security level. In trouble flee behavior update, make decisions based on target. AI should use fragmentation cannons at effective range, rather than at maximum range. NPC's drives do not malfunction when damaged. Improved how NPC wing members operate with each other. Check if a player has permission to access Horizons content before adding settlements to the list of targetable locations. NPCs now have an automatic loadout system based on the archetype, ranks, ships and other factors. Ships at range struggle with weapon minimum distances, don't fire enough, at all fixed. If we blocked NPCs from spawning due to multiple hunter hostile restrictions, check regularly to see if these restrictions no longer apply and then spawn. Missions. Mission giver faction now has its type set properly. Rank missions should no longer instantly fail for no apparent reason. Elite piracy and founder smuggling missions should no longer instantly fail for no apparent reason. Added new wanted smuggler meant to prevent hostage rescue missions resulting in a criminal act. Multi-cargo contract elements now have messages. And cargo types can be checked. Balanced ranks missions are generated for. Salvage legal missions should have been using mission-specific cargo. When a mission attempts to send an inbox message, if the player currently has that inbox message, we will not push a new message onto the inbox. Reduce mission limit to 20. Improve checks for players' cargo for mission advance. Fix for mission-specific cargo not being dropped. Add mission detected text to mission-based USSs. Change the reputation difficulty scaler to be relative to players' reputation with a given faction. Fix an issue where the USS wasn't actually being marked as belonging to a mission. If a USS for a specific mission already exists, don't spawn another. Ensuring rescue mission cargo is not marked as stolen when liberated. Reduced time before targets spawn in piracy and rescue mission. Targets will now appear between 10 and 30 minutes from mission generation. Don't send people to settlements which don't have ports in missions. Don't send people to the same market they are requesting a mission from. Authority mission wrinkles shouldn't occur in anarchies. Don't add major faction rep to minor faction rep when working out player rep. Mission targets in settlements now don't have a range limit for displaying as contacts, also when targeted they will show as a mission target. If there are no missions, give text which tells players what other things they could do to help. Allow NPC ships to dump mission-specific cargo. Allow inbox messages to obfuscate the sender for Black Ops. Add an introductory mission for new starters. Refresh the inbox when completing a mission, so mission tip-offs are immediately visible. If a mission requires you to go to a body, then display the mission marker for that body in the system map. Mission board factions now ordered such that factions with mission hand-ins are at the top. Space scenarios. Distress call scenario fixes. Prevent training level asteroids from jumping about when the game is unpaused. Increased ship variation for terrorist leader. Terrorist archetype now prioritizes military targets. Update spawning ambient AI in normal space, and add power play ships when at stations, nav beacons and RES locations. Increased ship variety for political assassination targets. Make more explicit use of security levels for generating police in supercruise. Fix for dropping out at a USS not spawning the USS objects. Added with bodyguard variants of trader and smuggler scenarios for missions. Added more player events to scenarios. Change how USSs are spawned so it is no longer simply time-based. Location is a factor. Add a sine wave signal to point turrets. Add a clamp to prevent wars in systems with few planets creating no conflict zones. Fixes to loadouts and behaviors in the rescue scenarios. Fixed credit reward
minutes.
for routing a cap ship in war zones to 150,000. Show shipping lane instead of deep space when in supercruise in a shipping lane. Surface scenarios / poise. Prevent collectibles on surface falling through the floor for non-authority clients. Fixed an issue where materials would sometimes spawn inside a rock and be untargetable. Settlement generator health cannot longer go into negative values. Fixed broken skimmer disable points on 2 settlements. Unable to scan data points after other player completes settlement fixed. Fix an issue causing poise to spawn on steep parts of terrain when they shouldn't be. Reduce fall-off point for deep space poise so human debris doesn't get found so far out. Settlement sentry skimmers should avoid crashing into player ships. Fix for canisters in poise not replicating. Don't try to render poise when the sensors are off. Make all skimmers and POI objects detectable by ground sensors only by default. We don't want ships picking them off from the skies without having to work for it. Note that anything firing at the player will still show up and be targetable back. Note that poise can still be discovered from ships. Collisions with skimmers are now also extremely disruptive to ships. Hitting one will cause a temporarily loss of drives and shields. Don't do it. Extend time ships can fly over settlements before they get fines and bounties. Cargo in a POI now has the correct legality flag set and is also marked as mission cargo if needed. Settlement point defense capability upgraded. Lower range at which buggy can target things. Tweak skimmer armor resistances for boss. Refresh vouchers when claiming a scam, so we can immediately see the voucher that was generated. Don't allow skimmers to respond to accidental hits from their allied turrets. Added a beacon light to certain data links so that players are attracted to them. Skimmer disabler added. Added point defense systems for settlements and bases. If you leave a trespass zone while hostile, show a different message than leaving it while not hostile. Docking computer. Screen violently shakes when using the standard docking computer to dock at a planet port fixed. Auto docking module occasionally crashes ships on planetary stations fixed. Weapons. Fixed issue with incorrect firing mode assigned to gimballed fragment cannons. Increased the heat damage of small beam lasers slightly. Explosive damage more effective against shield generators. Increased torpedo damage. Increased mine ammo capacity and hardness piercing. Increased damage from missiles. Increased ammo capacity for dumbfire missiles. Re-evaluate default missile guidance parameters so that they make more use of look ahead further out. Reduce the splash damage for dumbfire missiles so they're not overpowered against surface targets. Fixed hardpoints deployed audio being spammed by ships that are in the process of landing, docking. Point defense turrets should only damage their target or submunitions. Fix point defense turret parameters so they're a bit more accurate. Chaff no longer blocks advanced scans and so is less of a catch-all defense. Rebalanced torpedoes to be much tougher but slower. Tweaked point defense turrets to fix a fire rate issue and increased hardness piercing of dumbfire missiles. Make sure that beam weapons don't cause crimes when they're not supposed to. Stop submunitions being teleported for a frame in some circumstances. Targets only turret mode changes. It will now stop firing when blocked correctly, and can be activated while blocked and will not fire until the shot is clear. Target only now has the same rules as fire at will and cannot cause crimes under any circumstances when accidentally hitting things other than the intended target. Crimes for hitting the intended target apply as normal. Correct an exploit where rapidly switching targets several times during a bullet's flight would allow damaging a target without aggro. Replace legacy weapon variants with their defaults, along with some credits and materials to offset the inconvenience. Increase heat generated per shot on rail guns. Reduce heat sink ammo by 1. Controls. Removed gamepad controls from keyboard and mouse scheme. Fix a few errors in the PS3 control scheme files. Removed some telemetry that is sent whenever someone changes a control binding. Axis bindings were being implicitly cast to button bindings fixed. Turned off your into roll by default on controller schemes. Mouse cursor visible when using HOTAs. Don't force rotation correction on when we land on the planet's surface. It only makes sense in a space station. Fix being unable to use control keys to look at the cockpit panels whilst launching from dock. Fixed throttle setting itself to 0 when exiting from hyperspace or super cruise while the game doesn't have focus. Add info message on cargo scoop retraction. Fix an issue where you have multiple Xbox controllers, only one of the controllers will work. Fixed several issues with how the SRV was handling mouse input. Added controller preset for Thrustmaster HOTAs 4. Galactic simulation. Fix an issue when you had exactly -35 rep. It couldn't work out your relationship. Added investment faction state. Rebalance how player actions and missions count towards the star system's influence caps for the day. Rebalance how player actions and missions contribute towards faction state and influence buckets. Additional factors now contribute towards outbreak and famines buckets. Added a new retreat state for factions with low influence levels not in their home system. Significantly changed the expanded state. The faction's search for another system is now triggered at the end of the expansion's active phase. If the surrounding systems are full, then an expansion might trigger an invasion war if an appropriate defender can be found. Added new investment state for factions that have failed to expand, which significantly increases development level for a short time and lets the faction search a bit further away when they next expand. The lockdown state now locks down many station services for affected factions, allowing commanders to concentrate on helping those factions' crime control efforts. Conflicts should now be easy to win, with rebalanced effects of combat actions during conflicts.
72.
War now only needs a 5% influence difference to win. Civil war and elections remain at 3%. When assigning the spoils of war, ports and stations that ships can dock at are now considered more valuable than planetary settlements.
That was
Send out
charming.
inbox messages when commander reputation changes past each threshold. Superpower reputation now affects the rate of change of affiliated faction reputation. Fix background sim consequences for crimes other than piracy or murder, and to consider both the victim faction and the faction that controls the jurisdiction of any crime. Local news articles have been improved for many states, including which system a faction has just expanded into. Fixed localization for commodity and ship descriptions in local news reports. Markets. Rebalanced smuggling illegal commodities. Each star system's current security levels now significantly affect buy and sell prices for legal and illegal commodities. Significantly increased the effects of faction state on commodity markets availability and prices. Power play. Fixed not being able to defect away from dead powers. Removed warning about assassins and power change cooldown when defecting away from a dead power. There's no penalty to defection here. Fixed power play preparation costs varying during a cycle when star system population varies. Fix when choosing actions to oppose a power. Independent powers should now always use the hostile variants against each other in all circumstances. Reactivate power play actions in star systems that have population but no planets. Network/server. Add system X, Y, Z coordinates to network clock. Performance and reliability improvements for exploration. SRV. Added suspension travel prediction to SRV physics. After any outfitting web request, update the module boost states from the ship state that the server returns. Fix for incorrect SRV shadows. SRV fuel bars do not update in your role panel. Fixed. Disabling plot route. Select buttons in galaxy map when player is in a SRV. SRVs can no longer be deployed when their respective vehicle bays are disabled. The select highest threat hotkey can now lock onto turrets and skimmers. Fixed the cargo scoop hotkey not working in an SRV when close to the ship. The SRV can no longer be deployed when the ship is in the middle of launching from a port. The SRV is now refueled when it docks at a port. Fix for data link scanner not scanning when the option firing deploys hardpoints is disabled. Prevent turret mode being accessible via roles panel when under the ship or otherwise blocked. With drive assist on, moving off forwards at slow speed has long reaction time. Fix for vehicle turret camera clipping when at max pitch angle. Drive assist doesn't engage gear to react to throttle if buggy is slowly sliding. Fixed. Fix for the buggy rolling when it shouldn't. Automatic handbrake only disengages when a drive reverse input is received. Ship oxygen supply no longer depletes while the player is out of the ship, that is in a buggy.
Half an hour to go.
Fixed detection of high-speed collisions when two buggies collide. Fixed wheel motion blur rendering. Fixed forward-only throttle issues with dead zones on the buggy. Fix incorrect physics collisions with wheels. When broadcasting text chat to /local, send to all ships, vehicles in the current session, regardless of range, visibility, etc. SRVs were not previously receiving chat from ships. Tri-mesh versus wheel stability improvements. Wheels won't clip through walls anymore. Rolling looks better. Now if your ship makes contact with your buggy while landing, it'll fly away. If you drive under the feet of someone else's landing ship, it'll crush you. Added tire tracks. Fixed SRV turret mouse pitch axis being inverted by default. Allow transfer of stolen cargo from buggy to ship. Incorrect distance shown from targeted location after deploying SRV. Fixed. Fixed buggy wheel thrusters not animating while in the photo camera. The turret mode does not scan targets, meaning you have no information of health or shields. Fixed. Added support for dirtying the buggy wheels according to the planet's dust color. Fixed the buggy trying to run away while the game is paused or doesn't have focus. Fixed SRVs getting stuck in the cargo bay when deploying from the perspective of other clients. Roll panel shows 0 buggies available when you restock SRV via the restock screen. Fixed. Fixed the buggy going rogue while the photo camera is active during buggy deployment. Fixed the throttle showing -0 while stationary and improved buggy behavior while the photo camera is active. Fixed dumping cargo near a settlement in a buggy not giving the player a fine. Fixed escape menu moving during the vehicle boarding animation. Fixed radar contacts being visible in the SRV while in turret mode. Raise up the buggy's garage start position by a couple of meters to stop it getting embedded in the floor in some garages. Tweak vehicle cargo hatch behavior to enable cargo acquired message in the SRV. Buggy turret UI is inconsistent when targeting things. Fixed.
Just fixing it so if your ship accidentally
to
lands
the
on you,
SRV
it'll fly off,
headlights
but if
so
somebody
that they
else's ship
don't
lands
leach
on
out the
you,
ground
it will
so
crush
much
you.
on some planets.
Like
Add
when
door
the thing-
change messages to the SRV to match what the ship has. Especially useful when opening, closing the cargo scoop while in turret mode. Let player park buggy in any garage, not just the one for the ship's landing pad. Use compass to lead them to the nearest one. Fix unsold exploration data and vouchers not always being removed when dying in an SRV and the parent ship has been destroyed. Synthesis. Remove the no effect, superseded and boost active synthesis states, so a synthesis is always available as long as you have the materials for it and you are in the appropriate vessel. When scanning a micro-resource outcrop, up the maximum amount of different types the scan message can display from 4 to 6. Fix large caliber munitions synthesis not being applicable to cannons. When applying synthesis boost to the buggy's armor, decrease the damage multiplier rather than increasing it. Super Cruise. Smooth some issues with Super Cruise transition. Made
That's
the
okay,
drop
I'm
out
keen
into
in them
glide
all.
mode smoother, so there is no teleport backwards. Speed. Distance restrictions for dropping from Super Cruise now scale with how strong the local gravity influence is. The further from bodies the easier it is to drop out. Statios and most scenarios won't be majorly affected, but things like USs that appear in deep space, and some nav beacons are much easier to drop at. Fixed the safe for drop message not appearing when entering Super Cruise in a safe to drop state. Wings. Prevent dropping at wing beacons inside asteroids. Feedback is now given to the player if they send a wing invite to a player already in a wing.
47 minutes.
Always show wing commander names above their ships, regardless of them being targeted or not. Fix when issuing trade dividend vouchers to wing members. Fix for a wing member showing as destroyed briefly when they transition to, from Super Cruise. Drones/limpets. Prospector limpet drone replacement order gets stuck. Fixed. Fixed refinery bin list jumping up and down when collecting fragments that are automatically removed from the hopper. Stop jumping when non-North drones receive a position update via the network. Non-targeted collection drones should try to return to their ship and find another target. Drone controller modules are no longer visible on the HUD arcs unless assigned to an active fire group. Limpets can now deliver cargo to a hatch which is trying to be any of the 4 open states, rather than having to wait on the door to cycle back to the open scooping state. Fixed bug where roaming collector drones would rebuild after authority transfer as single target drones. Don't allow further drone launches while another drone controller on the same ship is busy launching a drone. Prospectors now display asteroid material content as high, medium or low. Stations. Shooting a station module will now result in the station registering the hit and becoming hostile. Improved LEDs on the holo adverts outside of stations. Fix LED pop on station storage pods caused by greebles being used for large areas of geometry. Fix lead pop on station fusion reactor caused by greebles being used for large areas of geometry. Fixed and smoothed landing pad animations. Improved textures in hangar to receive lighting correctly. Fix station name in chat panel. Fix for matchmaking when starting doctor to surface settlement, players were always starting in a fresh island. Improved the issue of the station in a dock popping into view. Add fog to station interior. Fix the occasional loading into the wrong docking bay. Added a check if the ship is clear of any landing bays, before classing the ship as left the station. Stations will no longer let you dock if the controlling faction dislikes you. CQC. Don't start the CQC backfill matchmaking check timer if we're not in a CQC game yet. If someone joins a CQC match when the current game has less than 1 minute left, then have them wait on the lobby screen for the next match instead of joining a game about to end. Added scaling to the schematic models in the Empire Fighter cockpit. Fix a possible timing issue where the replication of CQC objects could come out of order. This would cause the splash at the end of a game to show an incorrect result, but the score summary screen which appears later would be correct. Make sure we don't mark a CQC game as about to end when it's in the loading state. Make sure we keep hold of the spawn point claim in CQC until either we move off the spawn point or we get destroyed, so we don't allow a spawn in the same location. Fixed issue of not being able to focus on party elements in UI. Fix an issue with accepting an invite from a player that has since disconnected from you. Cancel pending lobby invites when we enter matchmaking. Players can't join lobbies that are in the middle of matchmaking, so the invite should be invalidated at this point. Adjusted how teams are set up in CQC games so make them more balanced. Save the CQC loadouts when you leave the ship, select and loadout edit screens, instead of just when we quit the game. Fix for CQC disconnect bug caused by incorrectly aligned timeouts. Moved the animating doors on the asteroids map so there isn't a gap that the player can fly through. Added an extra check to the matchmaking lobby to try and catch an odd case of someone not quitting the game after the match has ended. Make sure we set the CQC user presence string when we start loading into the CQC menu. Otherwise it will say we are in open play when we are on the loading screen. If we detect a CQC game is imbalanced, that is only one person in deathmatch or a 3v1 in team games, it will start a 30-second countdown to end the game early. This countdown will be cancelled if someone else joins and balances the game out a bit. We now give players notifications for when someone joins / leaves / disconnects from the same CQC match that they are in. Fix drive placement, damagability on Empire Fighter drives. Drop commander from game attack when showing score summary as there's not enough room and everyone is a commander on that screen. If we receive a session error and we are the host to a squad, then make sure to remove the squad from matchmaking to avoid errors of being in the wrong state. After respawning after dying in a proving ground, make sure the respawn menu is closed. Fix for the CQC score screen staying up between matches if you have it open when the match ends. CQC shield booster multiplier too small, bumped from 4% to 10%. Fix an issue when trying to start a game with more players than in supports. Fix an issue with team sorting. It was possible for the team sorting to happen when we didn't have all the players' data, so it couldn't split into teams correctly. Ship art. Modified tri-mesh check for targeting weapons to work on the cutter. Fixed hardpoint slot decal renumbering and adjusted thruster on keel back. Improved LODs on cargo bay for all ships. Bobblehead stem fixes on some ship cockpits. Added low load lights and fixed clipping issue in cutter cockpit. Make sure that landing gear collision is in the right place at the right time. Type 6 landing gears have some of the pistons broken fixed. Type 7 landing gears have some of the pistons broken fixed. Keelback hardpoint door clips into thruster fixed. Fixed UV mapping issue on the cutter large hardpoint insets. Fixed the landing gear on the keelback not deploying in sync. Added in cargo bay door and fixed some hit check issues for the Anaconda. Fixed for non-shadow casting ship headlights, Anaconda and cutter. Make the struts and interior material so they get the nicer clip plane on the Vulture cockpit. 4 types of generic utility hardpoints for use as scanners, shield boosters etc. Burning embers on permanent damage now cools off over time. Fixed greebless use on the Anaconda. Fixed Anaconda chair positions and orientations. Let the Corvette's schematic get smaller when departing a planet's surface. Updated scratch, dirt maps etc. to improve appearance of damaged states and fix issues with damage appearing on new ships. Fix the Python hitcheck issue. Fixed flip decals on Type 6, Type 7, and Type 9. Fixed mirrored decal on Diamondback Explorer. Viper MK flip decal fixed. Adjustments to Imperial Cutter cockpit to fix some camera and HUD issues. Fix for incorrect hardpoint doors opening and closing in outfitting on Type 6. Updated Orca cockpit so bobbleheads don't intersect broken canopy. Fixed flipped hardpoints on keelback. Fixed medium hardpoints were intersecting with the weapons gauge. Ensure that cockpit exterior textures aren't loaded twice. Now the Federation Corvette has bespoke landing gear doors animations. Decal pass on all ships. Fixed hit check for the ASP Scout to cover wings. Some hit check fixes on the Imperial Cutter. Fixed offset shield issues with the Vulture. Keep clear text flipped on Corvette hull fixed. Fixed some hit check issues with the Orca. Fixed landing volumes for ASP Scout. Fixed offset hit check on the hauler, also fixed the landing gear hit check so that it covers the doors so that the SRV won't drive through them now. Increased the height of the buggy bay so that it doesn't clip when you look up in the SRV. Updated the Eagle's top hardpoint to not clip and be able to fire when small weapon is applied. Updated the Imperial Cutter's retro drive unit so that the particle fires the correct direction. Fixed stretch texture on the front of the Type 9. Fixed bone position on the cutter's rear thrusters. Fixed some issues with Sidewinder landing gear. Fixed mirrored text and incorrectly rotated light on the Python. Fixed a now issue on the Type 9. Fixed multiple issues regarding the Imperial Eagle. Viper Paint MCV2 lid issue fixed. Fix a mesh issue on the Viper. Building art. Fixed some flimmering decals on buildings. Fixed offset collision on holographics. Offset the collision more under the external planet port buttresses to stop the top of the SRV clipping. Fixed missing geometry on a section of the science outpost. Fixed offset collision mesh for buildings. Fixed some lodding issues on buildings. Buildings texture fixes. Fixed floating decals on buildings. Extended foundations on the dome mount buildings to help prevent them from floating over the ground on very bumpy terrain. Fixed various floating buildings. Added an extension to the entrance ramp to improve access to a crater base if it's placed on particularly bumpy terrain. Removed some rogue ground polygons which sometimes clipped into planetary port hangars. Fixed intersecting text on low-load of medium-sized planetary hangar. Don't generate small rocks within planetary ports. Fixed offset UVs on the small planetary landing pad, which was causing textures to pop between lids. Celestial bodies. Prevent rings intersecting moons. Make sure that a ring is not completely invisible. Planet pops in and out of view when close to the edge of the viewport fixed. Graphics settings dependent rocks now placed near existing rocks to maintain patch layout, so that graphics settings now only affect the general density, rather than the pattern of placement. Small surface rocks now generate right up to and around settlements. Game is not waiting for physics terrain to be ready on startup at planet fixed. Reduce the green component of the starlight starting with surface temperatures greater than 8000 K. This moves the color scheme more towards the expected color range for OB stars. Reduce the maximum brightness from the star so that not every system follows the full range. This is a loose guard to stop dim stars with a nearby frost line from having high albedo planets in over-bright conditions.
Almost 60 minutes.
Fix the desaturated starlight target. It had been transitioning to full grey instead of a fraction of the true, conventional color mix. Fix a bug where patch lighting wasn't being generated and causing planets to render at low detail. Disable the terrain depth pre-pass render nodes when the player isn't on the planet's surface. Ejector crater basins, edges, and multi-ring regions play nice with each other. The subsequent craters in the array should, mostly, stamp out the previous ones. A layer of noise from crater basins has been removed as it misbehaves for planets with large radius. The Europa line depths have been exaggerated for large planets. Various optimizations for planet surface rendering. Add a very low terrain option for use in environment map captures. Optimizations for weapon effects on planet surfaces. Improve lag management over distance. Enable asteroid shadow casting in ultra quality settings. Put the rocky, metal asteroid shaders into the correct FX list. There's no need for them to be doing any forward rendering. Add high quality bloom settings and preset updates for new bloom settings. Currently enabled for ultra and high presets for Windows 64 and OS X, and also enabled for Xbox One. The previous bloom has been kept in as a cheaper medium setting. Color rebalance and general housekeeping for rocky asteroid rings. Changed billboard color to better match real rocks. Tweaked billboard normal to give better surface detail. Tweaked fog effects when in ring to add more atmosphere. Balancing pass on metal and ice asteroid rings. Billboard diffuse textures tweaked to remove shading. Billboard color matched to real asteroid diffuse better. Billboard normals given more detail. Ring fog boosted and balanced for greater atmosphere. Ring distance specular brought down into sensible ranges as much as possible. Transition from distant ring to close-up ring, in Super Cruise, improved to be more visually pleasing. Fix for large surface rock rotations not matching the correct settings. Enable asteroid SSS at medium material quality. Change to help reduce the brightness of ice ring systems. Texture generation workload size is now increased during system map loads to compensate for sunk. Fix environment map null render logic. Fix black strip artifacts on planets. Tweak shadow bias settings for planetary approach on ultra to reduce some blocky artifacts. Fixed non-linear depth for stars and planets. Fix cell artifacts due to precision issues on terrain patches. Prevent light showing through planets that use lookup tables for atmosphere scattering, like gas giants. Implemented alternative technique for baked shadow calculation that removes precision issues. This fixes patchy shadow artifacts on large planets. Fix an issue where planets were using the wrong lighting when rendering sometimes. Improve LUT calculation for surface patches. Replace the authored ring detail texture with a generated texture which is unique for every ringed planet and does not tile. Scale frequency of detail texture on planet rings so that rings of differing breadths have uniform detail effects. AMD optimization for terrain patch generation. Asteroid billboards are now deferred. This means that the ring fog is able to interact with them correctly. Changed how planet rings shadow. They now receive more realistic, much less diffused planet shadows. Rings background occlusion values have all been boosted as well. Fixed the asteroids in the ring sometimes not appearing when dropping out in them. Planet base dust is now driven from blended surface material color. Stop shield geometry being drawn into the environment map was causing the planets to turn blue sometimes. Fix an issue where Stellar Forge live objects would not get a phase shift if it happened the same frame as a location transfer. This would mean the live objects would be a few km out of position. Render. Fix lens flares from clipping against near plane. Fix stereoscopic display resolution issues when using borderless window. Fix for normal maps having an incorrect format in Win64 resource builds. Add additional options to frame limiter and increase accuracy. Stop beam laser light sources from flickering. Added new VR high and low graphics options. Fixes for particle visuals when shadows are set to the lowest setting. Decal rendering optimizations. Disabling the GUI now dims the HUD lights. Improved default BIOS settings and fixed reading settings from the graphic configuration XMLs. Fix our quality presets for Windows. Changed how the size for bow quarteries elements was calculated in order to avoid any additional aliasing. Added scaling for the hour radius based on the distance to the camera. This ensures that we get some bow contribution on faraway objects in large scenes, such as station interiors and settlements. Environment map blending optimizations. Rebalanced shadows for all quality levels and profiles. Fixed the light diffusion on lit dust. VR/3D. Fix HMD cockpit position for ships. Fix VR performance issue in glide mode. Fix for no head look when in hyperspace. Updated the main menu hanger. Fix head look not working when playing on a 3D TV. Make 3D mode revert to off when options attempt to set HMD when it is not present. Update hanger VR cameras. Steam. Instead of always blocking the Shift plus Tab button combo for the Steam overlay, look up the current Steam user's Steam overlay binding and block that key combo in-game. Stellar Forge. Rename some duplicate star systems. Capital is no longer a water world. Change Stellar Forge population to match system data in LHS 2819. Renamed Seekias at QLC 240 to Beagle Point. The authored Naraka system has been renamed to Arbuda. Renamed Dayacton's GNWC16 to Rendezvous Point. Renamed Duplicate HR 6946 to Mammon. Localization. Updated translations. Fix for errant location text field not being translated. Use localized strings for star types that previously weren't. Fix some localization issues with the training scenarios. Localized Galnet's power play prediction. Adjusted ship name to cover 2 lines instead of 1 in the shipyard.
YouTube as well.
Xbox One specific. Fix physics crash with overheating ship and fuel scooping. Fix soft lock entering or leaving supercruise. Fix error retrieving star data when the data hasn't loaded yet. Add option to hide user's presence in rich presence. Unable to see any notifications in the top right panel about the flag in CTF fixed. When a player is invited into a game, try to use your squad's suggested team as your suggested team. This should help the Xbox backfill matchmaking make better team suggestions for new members. Allow comms to remain open between squad mates until a CQC game starts. Then it will switch over to team comms. After a match has ended it will go back to squad comms. Fix issue with player being kicked if their live data wasn't properly initialized as the session was being created. Activate panel controls while focused on the scanner panel for consistency, can now use pad B to exit the focus. docking computer activates hard points and fires at station without player input. Always show the friend options pop up, even if the only options are show gamer card and back. This is less confusing than just automatically showing the gamer card in some situations. Add greater facility for binding controls. Prevent unlocking ship killing achievements by killing skimmers. Fix full gamer tag not being shown when targeting wing wave. Made space for gamer tag in CQC menus able to fit 15 characters wide. To the right of arena on main menu are links to training videos. These block controller navigation to comms contacts fixed. Various UI performance optimizations. Enabled by default on Xbox One. Fix issue with video player when coming back from constrained mode. Friends and private groups, pressing B with a friend selected backs out of friends completely instead of just the submenu fixed. Headline audio features. Audio. Flight controller voices on starports, planet ports and engineer bases. Audio. Ambient radio chatter when close to starports and planet ports.
Oh, I thought there'd be one
Audio.
here.
SRV combat music. Audio. SRV voice alerts. Audio. Settlement security voice and alarms. Audio.
Well.
Planet port ambient tannoy voice announcements. Audio support for main 2.1 features. Audio. Sounds for all engineer related screens. Audio. Support for missions screens. Audio. Engineer base ambiances. Audio. New ambiances for underground docking bays. Audio. Audio sweeteners and changes to reflect the dynamic properties of the weapons. Audio. Support for new poise USSs. Audio. Support for new collectible items, materials.
Past turn audio.
Audio support for new weapons, huge multi-cannon, pulse and beam lasers, and large multi-cannon. Audio. Support for USS scanning. Additional audio features. Audio. Added more starport voices. Audio. Added wave scanner volume slider to audio options. Audio. Added SRV handbrake sounds and voice alert, which can be switched off. Audio. Added SRV boarding alert sound, pings when in the correct position to board ship, port. Audio. Added audio for modules powering up. Audio. SRV headlights. Audio. Manual shield deactivation sound, different to forced deactivation in combat. Audio. Discover scanner is now audible on other ships at close range. Improvements, bugs, and mixing. Audio. Improvements to port and settlement ambiances. Audio. Improvements and additions to reverbs on settlements and planet ports. Audio. Various skimmer improvements. Audio. Numerous tweaks to SRV audio. Audio. Improved Anaconda and Type 9 boost sounds. Audio. Wave scanner man-made sound is now separate sounds for generator, mining area, and ship SRV. Audio. Numerous bug fixes.
Waterworld.
Technical. Audio. Various improvements to memory management and sound bank clothing.
So I'll try to get a quick
Audio. New fancy system to manage distribution of sound emitters over the area of a settlement or planet port, internally called Audio Crowd System. Audio. Updated wise to v2015.1.5. Audio. Numerous optimizations to voice count and compression settings.
Well, that's finished. That was very interesting to listen to. That was supposed to be what was happening lately. So, there we go. I'll be signing out shortly. That ran for 72 minutes. Anyway, my name is King Admiral Commander Black Dragon, double lead at your service, signing off. Thank you again for watching my videos, and all comments are welcome. You'll have a great day now.